Have I experienced any success? Yes.
Any notable success?
Yes, I've experienced quite notable success, in fact. So the story that I worked on during the fellowship was focused on mob justice. And my background is typically arts and culture, so I had never done a really important deep dive into a story of this nature. And I spent 6 months working on the piece, and at the end of it, I had an article. And this article, our initial plan was to find a place for it to be published so that it has a wider readership. But luckily for me, Baraza Media Lab had come up with a concept called Story Saucer. It was in its formative idea stages, but it was designed as a live storytelling concept, and they felt like this idea worked for that space. So it was a very long journey of preparation, but finally we were able to stage it early this year in July 2023, and I was able to take the story and stage it, which is quite a difficult task to do when it's something written for the page, written to be read with your inner voice of your mind. But it was quite wonderful to be able to present it on a stage and have it supported with fantastic animation and having the same idea of data storytelling, which is visualization through like pie charts and graphs and wonderful visual elements like that, converting percentages or other numbers into like percentages for greater understanding. Being able to do that on a stage with this fantastic production value around it was really, really wonderful. Yeah, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to eventually publish the story, but to be able to stage it in front of a live audience was pretty incredible. Quite grateful for that. Well, presenting something for stage is about enunciation, pacing yourself, and things like that. So sometimes you pick really tough and deadly grammar for the page to excite the reader, but then you realize, okay, we need to find a synonym for that word that works, that rolls off the tongue much better, and it's presented, but you don't lose the essence of a story. So it's just thinking about how do you present a story orally in front of an audience that gets them engaged and excited about the material, that's very dense in its approach. So also finding I was quite grateful that as I was presenting it, I realized I was actually already an arc within the way the story was being told. We started by explaining, or rather by creating a really strong visual of how does mob justice happen, what are the mechanics of it, something is an everyday occurrence. So have we seen this in our lives? Have we seen someone being chased, being cornered? Maybe they're just beaten up, but maybe there's a tire put around their neck. What is that everyday image? And then breaking it down, giving it historical context, giving it a statistical explanation. What are the numbers? Where is this happening? And then going into the psychological. Why are we doing this? Is there a reason behind it? So that for me was a really interesting part, because I felt like the core question of my article was, why don't people see their actions against a criminal as well? And so being able to break that down with a psychologist, but also being able to sit well with a human rights activist to give context for why is this happening? Why are these societies and these communities resorting to this? What are the actual larger problems in society? So that was quite wonderful to be able to break that down. So luckily it works on paper, but also it was good that it actually worked on stage as well. So it was kind of marrying the two aspects.